Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a piece of equipment that's all about total peace of mind. I'm talking about the home standby generator. And really, this is for anyone out there who believes that being prepared, well, it's not just a plan, it's a responsibility.
So, let's start with a mindset that I think a lot of us can get behind, especially when we're talking about protecting our home, our family. It's that core belief in being self-reliant, being ready for whatever life throws at you. And look, this isn't about being a worrywart. It's just about being responsible.
All right, let's paint a picture. It's that moment we all absolutely dread, right? A big storm's rolling in, the wind is just howling, and then, poof, everything goes dark. And it could be anything, an ice storm, a tornado, heck, it could even be a squirrel on a power line miles away that suddenly plunges your home into that eerie silence and, a real sense of uncertainty.
And let's be real, it's never just an inconvenience, is it? Look at this list. It's like a domino effect, just a whole series of cascading problems that create some serious stress. It's not just about being without lights. Suddenly, you're worried about all that food in the fridge and freezer spoiling. That's hundreds of dollars down the drain. Or your pipes freezing and bursting in the winter. What about the sump pump? If that fails, you could be looking at a flooded basement. It's that awful mix of hassle and genuine risk that, frankly, nobody wants to deal with.
Okay, but what if that moment of darkness, that panic, what if it lasted for just a few seconds? What if the power came back on before you could even fumble around and find a flashlight? Well, there's a permanent solution that makes that exact scenario possible. Let's dig into it.
So what is this thing exactly? The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's basically a protected engine, kind of like the one in your car, that gets permanently installed outside your home. It looks a lot like an air conditioning unit. And here's the key. It's hooked up directly to your home's electrical panel and, this is crucial, to your existing fuel supply, whether that's a natural gas line or a big propane tank.
Okay, and the real game changer here is that word automatic. It's also permanent. This is totally different from a portable generator. The kind you have to drag out of the garage in the middle of a storm, fill with gas, and then pull a cord to start. No way. A standby unit is always on guard, 24/7. It can power your whole house, not just a couple of appliances, and it works whether you're home or even if you're away on vacation. That means your house is always protected.
All right, so how does this thing just seamlessly take over during an outage without you having to lift a single finger? The whole process is actually pretty amazing, and it's all completely automated. Let's walk through exactly how it happens. So check this out. The whole thing happens in a matter of seconds. The instant the power from the utility company cuts out, the automatic transfer switch, which is really the brain of this whole system, it detects the outage. The first thing it does is safely disconnect your house from the grid. Then it immediately signals the generator to start up. You'll hear the engine kick on outside, and then a moment later, you'll hear this very distinct click. That's the switch transferring your home's power from the grid to the generator. And just like that, everything's back on. You're back in business.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, a permanent installation sounds like a huge disruptive project. But what's really interesting is how little it actually impacts your day. A typical installation takes about 8 hours, a full workday. But look at this breakdown. Half of that time, 4 hours, is just prep work, like leveling the ground. Another chunk is for the final connections. The actual time your power is off, well, it's a lot less than you'd think.
Yep, only about 2 hours. On a typical 8-hour installation day, the power to your house is only going to be off for around 2 hours while the electricians make those final connections. When you think about it, for a project that's going to give you decades of security and peace of mind, a 2-hour blip on a single afternoon, that's a pretty small price to pay, right?
And believe me, this thing is built to last. We're talking about a serious piece of hardware. The generator itself weighs about 500 pounds, and it sits on a specially poured concrete pad that adds another 300. So altogether, you've got an 800-pound unit that's bolted down. It is not going anywhere. It's just as permanent and just as sturdy as the air conditioner or furnace for your house.
So the installation itself, that's just a one-day thing, but the preparedness you get from it, that's constant. This isn't another chore you have to add to your list, something you have to constantly check on. The whole point is that the system takes care of itself.
So how does it do that? Well, to make sure it's always ready to go, the generator actually runs its own little health check. Once a week, at a set time, say Wednesday at noon, it will automatically start itself up and run for about 5 minutes. It doesn't switch the power over to your house or anything, it just runs a quick self-diagnostic. It circulates the oil and fuel, checks all its systems, and basically makes sure it's in perfect shape for the moment you actually need it. And this next part, this is what really makes it a true set-it-and-forget-it system. Modern units have their own built-in 4G cellular monitor. So if that weekly test finds any issue at all, even a tiny one, it automatically sends an alert directly to the service company. Think about what that means. A problem can be found and fixed on a sunny Tuesday, long before you'd ever have to rely on that generator during a big storm on a Friday night. It's proactive protection.
So when you put it all together, what you're left with is a state of total preparedness. The operation is completely automatic. You do nothing. The fuel source is permanent, so you can forget about storing and refilling messy gasoline cans. Your home itself is protected from really costly damage, like pipes bursting or a basement flooding. And all of that adds up to the biggest benefit of all: real, genuine peace of mind, knowing your family is going to be safe and comfortable, no matter what's happening outside.
So at the end of the day, what is it? It's an investment in never having to worry when the lights go out again. It literally transforms a moment of potential crisis into, well, just a minor inconvenience. It's all about making sure your home stays your sanctuary. Always running, always functional, always safe. And you just can't put a price on that kind of security.